All right. Rhythm of Fear is a Jacksonville, Florida-based crossover thrash metal band. I feel like they'd sort of done their crossing over in the early 2010s, uh, coming out of the sort of hardcore punk scenes into more of a metallic hardcore crossover sound. There was some melody in their early stuff. I feel like some of their early records had a little bit of Excel in there, a little bit of Cro-Mags and whatnot. And that was sort of what was big at the time as they were sort of figuring their sound out. Bands like Power Trip hit and all that, so that didn't necessarily change their sound. They still stood out on their full length in like 2016 or whenever it was, but uh, it definitely changed the way that they sort of produce their sound. Like I think Arthur Rizek at least mastered their 2019, their most recent release before this EP, and it had that sort of uh, bigger, louder, sort of edgier sort of sound, and they didn't really run with it for this record. They went more on like just a classic thrash metal tip. They sort of lean into uh, like they like kind of what I like. What I've always kind of been most interested in thrash is sort of like the things that people call like second tier thrash, or the stuff that came after the like the big four and all that shit. So you might hear a little bit of like Testament to Nuclear Assault in what they do, and these guys are influenced by everything from Leeway and whatnot, but they'll actually reference like Forced Entry and like Slammer and I think Cyclone Temple was a big influence on this record. I hear more like American Way, Sacred Reich, or Eccentrics. It's that there's Bay Area in there, but they've sort of added hardcore to it, and um, the riffs sort of hit in a different way, which is a little bit more early Testament. So anyway, um, what that means is that they're still like a crossover band, but this is a thrash metal album. It's a classic thrash metal album in format and sort of in intent. So you're getting, I think they paid a lot of attention to the lyrics and the subjects they cover, so that it feels like you're picking up a record and you're exploring someone's perception of the world, their mind, a little bit of their protest against what's going on in the world, but also uh, their sort of reaction to it. There's that, I hate to say, it's like that youth energy that you get from early thrash when it was sincere and really had a lot to say. So I feel like they're in a really good spot with this record. It seems very genuine. It does have like that tunnel vision that classic thrash has, which I appreciate. It's not like the best option if you're trying to be like the next big melodic whatever, but for me as just someone who's a nerd for thrash in general, I think this hits a lot of the right uh, spots where you just don't see a lot of thrash metal even halfway capable of these days. I think the last band in this style to impress me was maybe Take Offense. I've got a couple copies of their most recent record, and yeah, I was surprised by this one. The score isn't incredibly high, but I think it's because the standards for thrash, when you're going to hit it this traditional and just give it your own voice, are they're pretty high, and I think there was just a chance for a little bit more variety. Fewer interludes would have been cool, but they just kind of pad the record up to a length where it just kind of keeps going. And small things, I'm still going to get it and enjoy it. I think this is one that people will appreciate later on when they're looking for something you know more than decent in thrash metal in 2022, and it's pretty slim pickings overall. So I figure this was worth recommending. Um, uh, it's not as like definitely more on the thrash side of crossover. So keep that in mind. Don't expect like Municipal Waste or something. So uh, check it out if that's your kind of thing, and see if you like it.